Hey everybody, and we're back. Sorry about the delay in content. I know it's been quiet for the last few weeks. I've had a lot of other stuff going on. Some of it will turn into content. So you probably clicked on this because you were interested in seeing how much this whole YouTube thing has cost me over the last year. Or maybe you yourself are interested in being the next Hoovy, Tavares, or the Benz from Gears and Gasoline. Well, in this video, I'll give you a very good breakdown of how expensive and time consuming it really is, and how you really need to have deep pockets and a lot of support to make it happen. So officially I have been at this YouTube thing for a year now, and as any sensible person would do, big ass bump, I sat down, I broke out the calculator, and I tried to figure out my return on investment. And trust me when I say this whole YouTube creator thing is not as easy as it seems. It is definitely a full-time job. So between working full-time and trying to do this, it has been a trip and then some. Now, a quick disclaimer. At the start of this YouTube thing, I did tell myself that I will do it for a year. I will sit down and assess where I'm at, and then figure out from there what I want to do next. And wouldn't you know it, my life has changed so much over the last year, both personally and in the crazy world we live in, that a lot of plans and ideas kind of fell apart and made it a little bit different than what I originally planned it to be. With that being said, in this video, I'm going to break down what I think are the three most important factors in trying to do automotive YouTube content, which are time, lots of time, money, lots of money, and really good support. Now, I'll break this down in reverse order. That doesn't necessarily mean one is more important than the other. I think all three carry their own weight of importance. So we'll start out with the simplest one. So first things first is support. Although it's the first on my list, I don't think it's by far the least important one. It is something that motivates me every day. And by support, I don't necessarily mean financially. You know, we're not talking about sponsors here. I mean support from the people that love and surround you. These are the people in your corner that are willing to spend the time to help you film, create, edit, review, whatever else you want to call it, all your content. These are also the people that sit there and tell you that the garbage you chose to put on the internet is not complete shit. And the people I'm referring to are people like Lauren, Antonio, and then other close friends and family that take the time out of their day to come out to an autocross to help you record, or go and drive around, you know, learning how to drive stick for the purposes of content. These are the people that will sit there and spend their bonus check for gifts for you to have, for things like camera equipment or lighting or whatever else. These are people that are there supporting you and backing you. And it doesn't only come down to those people. I have close friends that support the channel, that watch the videos, every video I post, that post comments on Instagram, to add fuel to the algorithm, if you will. These are people that share it on Facebook and other social media platforms. Those are the people that are your support system. And don't doubt the fact that their sacrifices are any lesser than yours, because the stuff I have put Lauren through to make these videos and the money we've burned through, it is ridiculous. And besides her having to sacrifice her sanity for dealing with me recording all these things and spending all this money, and now being essentially a social media manager, there also has been a huge cost in terms of time. So that brings me on to my second point, time. Now, time is something that most people watching a YouTube video take for granted. They don't realize that the 15-20 minute video you're watching has taken hours upon hours, sometimes days or weeks to record, not to mention the editing time or the data gathering time or any travel time that's included in creating some content. To give you an example of this, the 15-20 second clip on my Tesla video of the travel montage, if you call it, took a handful of hours just for 15-20 seconds worth of video. Now the second example, which I think is the bigger one, is the time it takes to either build, repair, or modify something. Normally, you could get something done in the normal allotted time. Let's say a certain repair takes 2 hours. But if you're doing it while trying to record a video, you could easily double that time. You need to constantly stop and reposition the camera, reposition the lighting, rethink angles, break down tripods, make sure if you have 2 cameras set up that they're not recording each other. All those things take you away from the job at hand. So then you constantly have to get in and out of the car, or you have to constantly roll out from underneath it and back and forth. All this time, it adds up so quickly. And then another thing people don't think about is, you constantly have to clean your hands to handle the equipment, or change gloves, which also burns up time. So, as I said, you could be a scumbag and get something done and half-ass it and have it look maybe halfway decent, but I like things to be done properly. Like when I installed the neons, or the underglow, I guess they're not neons anymore, that job is something that you could probably pretty easily get done in a few hours, but it took me a few days. And you have to do all of this with these constant interruptions and make sure that you do a quality job. A big mistake a lot of technicians when working on a car they make is if they get interrupted by something, they go and forget to torque a certain screw, nut, bolt, whatever. So that's the second part of it. If you stop to reposition the camera, you have to remember where you left off. And then there's editing time, which can vary. I know probably some of the seasoned guys that have been doing it for a long time could probably get everything that they want in 1 or 2 shots. Now, I have gotten better over time with it and what I want to say on camera, but it is still pretty difficult to make sure you get everything you want in a shot and not burn a bunch of time and effort doing it. And even reviewing those clips. If I'm sitting there talking for 20 minutes, that's 20 minutes wasted. And then when I go to edit, I have to rewatch those 20 minutes of myself talking and cut out the portions that I don't think are necessary. Any video that you do, you have to sit there and sort through all of it. And that is probably the longest part of the editing process, is sorting through all of the recording that you did and only using clips that people would be interested in seeing. Another thing worth mentioning is just the simple transition clips, something that is 5 seconds that goes between driving a car in and out, etc., etc. Sometimes that could take 20-30 minutes just to set up a camera to essentially have 5 seconds of usable footage. Now the final thing is money, and it's a big one. And Lauren, if you're watching this right now, this is a good time to turn off the video. Now, I broke this down in multiple sections of what each costs me. One thing I will do is exclude the costs of things that I would have been doing regardless if I was recording it or not. And to be fair, I'll just cut those costs in half. So something like building a 190E, I would have done it regardless, so that cost is going to get cut in half. But we will do that stationary because it's probably not safe for me to be staring at a piece of paper breaking down all the costs. Okay, so now we're going to go over the finances of things. Now, it is a little bit overwhelming once you do all the math, and I'm sure I didn't have all of the receipts saved from everything. So we'll start with the cheapest one out of all of it, and that's this thing right here, the C63, excluding obviously cost of purchase, because obviously if I've already had the car, insurance, anything like that, only cost me $953 to create content with. Now, that stems only pretty much to buying tires for it. So the most expensive car essentially has the cheapest content creation cost. Next one up is the SLK. And in this one, I'm going to include all the costs of it, because if I wasn't making videos, I probably wouldn't have purchased the car in the first place. It was an idea for a while, but it wasn't something that was important. So, all in all, with the cost of purchase, all the repairs I did, the modifications I did, registration, insurance, and so on and so forth, this SOK cost me a total of $5,984. Next, we'll go on to the big one, the 190E. Now, this one I'll be fair and I'll split the cost in half. With the purchase price, the suspension, wheels, tires, seats, all the other interior bits, I am right now sitting at $8,967 into this car. But we'll cut that in half to be fair for the cost of running YouTube videos. So we'll call this $4,483.50. The next one is video. And with video, I mean only lighting equipment used for video, any add-ons for the GoPros themselves, cameras, the iPad Pro I use to edit everything, and the cost on that is $2,658, give or take. This next one is one I'll call shop supplies, and those are things like brake clean, zip ties, fittings, everything else. And this is a general number, and I'm going to also cut this one in half because regardless of what I was messing around with in the garage, I probably would have bought it, but the total on it is $675. But let's cut that in half and call it $337.50. Tools is another one that I'm going to cut in half because regardless of what I was doing, I was going to buy more tools as you would. So the total I've spent on buying any specialty tools has been $560. So we'll cut that in half and we'll call it $280 for tools that I've used to make content. Now the next big one is what I'll just call miscellaneous. So that includes storage, the cost of the Plaid, the cost of the GT3, any other miscellaneous items like subscriptions and so on and so forth. We are at $3,700 plus $480 plus $2,200 just in all those items. So that puts us as a grand total of what I've spent in the last year in an effort to make YouTube videos at $26,461. Now we'll subtract the items I said we'll cut in half, which will put us at $21,360. Now my return investment on this has been a total of $0. I have not made a single penny on making these videos. Now that is a huge number, and that comes from money that Lauren put out of her own pocket, out of my pocket. It is kind of a reality check. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I was going to count it all up and then figure out if it's worth doing. Now, financially speaking, absolutely not. You know, to make up this 21 grand that I've spent just in this year, it will take me probably a few more years. Now, the general rule of thumb for any content creation is it takes at least 3 years for your channel to take off. At the time of recording, have 266 subscribers, which counts up to something like 28 subscribers a month average, which is not terrible. It could obviously be better. Now, a lot of that stems from I haven't necessarily figured out an exact genre or type of video I want to make. For the most part, my idea was to just mess around with all sorts of cars and have a good time, whether it be a track day event, autocross, drift, or whatever else, or maybe a couple car reviews here and there. I kind of wanted to bounce around and just enjoy cars. So the question is, am I gonna keep going? And the answer is yes. Not because I enjoy burning money, it's because I actually really like doing this stuff. I really enjoy going out and doing stuff with cars and then making videos for it. I do enjoy editing the videos and trying to figure out better ways, better lighting, getting better with editing, getting better with sound, music, everything else. I really enjoy it. It's genuinely a hobby of mine. The second part of that is, honestly, it has brought me out to start doing car things again. I used to be completely plastered with doing car stuff pretty much my entire 20s. And then once I kind of, I guess you call it, settled down, I backed off a lot on doing car events. That's where my Z06 ended up being what you don't want a Z06 to be, and ended up sitting a whole bunch. But with making these YouTube videos, it has motivated me to go out and do stuff with the cars, whether it be turning the C63 to an impromptu autocross car, or building this thing and doing fun things with that, or getting to just drive cars I would have probably never had the opportunity to drive. The last year, probably the best highlights would have been of all the events I went to and did to make these videos. Because the crazy world we live in, with the inflated prices of things and the economy crashing, it is nice to have something that you really enjoy, and I absolutely love doing it. So I'm not done yet. I will keep going. So I say, if you have a dream to do something, go out and do it. I wish I would have started doing this years ago instead of now in my 30s, but such is life. As I've said in pretty much every video, thank you for watching. It really means a lot. Even a handful of views goes a long way. And if you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. If you don't, please consider it. It all helps. Thank you again for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I have a lot more ideas for a lot more content. Till next time.